Today, I want to talk about the concept of organizing our lives and our society in terms of rivalrous versus anti-rivalrous. So, rivalrous would be basically competing for things. So there's like one house and everybody's competing who's going to get it by paying the most price for it. And there's one winner and many losers, or if it's a game of tennis, then it's one winner, one loser. And then anti-rivalrous is, for example, the calendar, like the fact that we have years and months and days and everything, allows us to all meet up in at particular times, and we can choosing a location. So a calendar is useful because everybody uses the same calendar. If everybody was using different calendars, then it would not be as useful as it is. So the thing that I wanted to explore in terms of this is rivalry from, I think, a genetic point of view in human beings has an element of it that is fun. So I'm going to use the example of my kids going to the wave pool, and there's tons of kids there, and there's these mats that they can all go and sit and float on. And when there's dozens of mats, but it's really fun to go and compete to see who can get the best mat. Like there's the one mat that's the coolest one, and you're the king of the pool if you have that mat. And I took my kids there one time, and there were no other kids there, or very few kids, and it was not fun, because part of the fun of getting all the mats is that you're competing for it. And if you can just have all the mats without having to go through that whole process of getting to know other kids and figuring out how to either make friends or rival with them to get what you want, is just not as fun. But in rivalry, there is a point at which it becomes fight or flight. Like we can get triggered into fight or flight very easily. And at that point, it's no longer a fun rivalry, it is a life and death rivalry. And I think there's a need for a distinction between these two types of rivalry. So there's like collaborative rivalry, where we're all having fun and it's just a game and nobody's going to die. And then there's the kind of life and death or scary rivalry that leads to things like war or oppressing different groups of people because we're so scared that if we don't do that, they're going to oppress us or whatever. We're not going to have enough resources. It's fear-based rivalry, and real like amygdala fear-based rivalry. So I wrote down some notes here. So there's that kind of rivalry, and like scientists, for example, I've heard one scientist talking about how he makes a very, very specific thesis because he wants his other scientist rivalrous collaborators to come and test it from all different angles and figure out where he's wrong. He wants to say something specific, and he actually wants to be proven wrong because it's going to illuminate everything for everyone more. But if I just say something general because I want to be right, well, that's not really going to illuminate anything. And I'm not like offering it up for other people to actually attack it because I want to be right more than I want to know the truth. So then I go over to the idea of money. And money is one of those things that to me is actually more like a calendar. The value, if it, like the kids in the pool, if one person had all the money in the world, it would not have value. The value is that it, similar to a calendar is to organize our activities in space-time, the money is a tool for organizing our economic activities. So it allows us to have information going back and forth of what is valuable to me is then something that somebody else is going to want to produce, right? So it's actually almost like a language or a method of communicating things without having to use words, which would fall into the category of anti-rivalrous. But I think most people in society perceive, they get triggered, like money is a very triggering thing for a lot of people, and they get triggered into feeling like they're not going to have enough, and they go into a real fear place. So yeah, doing meditations about our feelings on money can really open up all our relationships and our lives to figuring out how we want to use money to live the life that we want. So that's something to meditate on today.